At 62, Demi Moore has finally decided to speak out. For decades, Hollywood painted her as a sex symbol, a powerhouse, a warrior on screen who could command millions per role. But behind the glitz was a woman who endured betrayal after betrayal by men who once called her their muse, their partner, even their family. She's waited years to reveal the names of those who cut her deepest, and the story behind each one shows just how brutal fame can be. The Rise and the Image. Born in Roswell, New Mexico, Demi's childhood was anything but glamorous. She grew up surrounded by instability, an alcoholic mother, a string of stepfathers, and a household marked by chaos. At 15, she left school, and by 16, she was on her own. That hunger to escape shaped her drive. When she entered Hollywood at 18, she had nothing left to lose. Unlike many young actresses who played it safe, Demi broke boundaries. Ghost in 1990 proved she wasn't just beautiful, she could make audiences cry over love that existed beyond death. With striptease, she turned nudity into empowerment, sparking controversy, but also forcing conversations about female control on screen. And in G.I. Jane, she shaved her head, showing the world that if she were a man, the same act would be celebrated. She wasn't just talented, she was a trailblazer. She became the highest-paid actress in Hollywood, commanding $12 million for a single role, with studios lining up to work with her. For a moment, Demi Moore was untouchable. But Hollywood doesn't celebrate women at the top for long, and while her image was bulletproof on screen, her personal world was fragile, and the betrayals would come one by one. Bruce Willis, the golden couple that wasn't. In 1987, Demi fell fast for Bruce Willis. The public adored them. 3 children, red carpet smiles, Hollywood's power pair. They looked like the perfect balance of career and family, envied by millions. But behind the perfect photos, Demi sacrificed opportunities and endured lonely nights while Bruce filmed abroad. Rumors of exclusive parties circulated, parties she was never invited to. She once admitted she was the only woman who loved Bruce before the world did. But as his fame grew, hers seemed to shrink. Even when they starred together in Mortal Thoughts, the fear in her eyes wasn't just acting, it was real. After 13 years, their marriage ended in 2000. The press called it amicable. They smiled for cameras, co-parented gracefully, but inside, Demi was collapsing. When Bruce moved on within weeks, she was left questioning if she had ever truly known him. And though she stayed quiet when news of his health struggles broke years later, one line in her private notebook revealed the truth. "I don't hate him for leaving me. I hate that he made me believe love was enough." With Bruce, Demi lost her faith in marriage. But her next relationship would cost her even more: her dignity. Ashton Kutcher, love, youth, and cruelty. Hollywood buzzed when Demi began dating Ashton Kutcher, a man 15 years her junior. To the world, it looked like a glamorous rebellion, but Demi believed it was real love. They appeared inseparable, holding hands at premieres, smiling against the judgment of tabloids. Privately, she began reshaping herself. Extreme diets, exhausting workouts, cosmetic procedures, all to remain desirable for a man still in his 20s. But time can't be outrun. On their 6th wedding anniversary, headlines broke. Ashton had been caught with a 22-year-old. The humiliation crushed her. Less than 4 months later, Demi was hospitalized for emotional and physical exhaustion, but the deepest wound came from a text she found on his phone. "You were younger. You make me feel my age." That sentence shattered her sense of worth. The divorce was quiet, but the aftermath was loud. Online, she was mocked as a pathetic cougar. Ashton moved on, married Mila Kunis, built the image of a family man. Demi was left with memories of changing everything for someone who still left her feeling inadequate. Her memoir later revealed the raw truth. She didn't hate that Ashton cheated. She hated that she had given up so much of herself only to end up discarded. With him, she nearly lost herself entirely. And the betrayals didn't stop there. Patrick Swayze, the illusion of on-screen soulmates. The pottery scene in Ghost became one of cinema's most iconic moments, forever tying Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze together in the minds of audiences. Viewers believed they were close, perfectly in sync. But the truth was very different. Behind the camera, they hardly spoke. Patrick refused to join her on promotional tours, dismissing her as overly emotional. He kept his distance, ignored her attempts to stay connected, and even told interviewers that off-screen, there's nothing to talk about. Demi later admitted she wasn't angry, just invisible in the eyes of a man the world assumed was her soulmate. For her, that was worse than hostility. It was erasure. When Patrick passed in 2009, she quietly sent flowers, writing only one line in her journal. The most beautiful scene of my life was shared with someone who only saw me as a role, not a person. For Demi, it was a brutal reminder that even cinematic magic can hide personal coldness. Tom Cruise, From Alley to Judge. In A Few Good Men, 1992, Demi stood alongside Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, playing a lone woman navigating military justice. On screen, she appeared powerful, confident, unshakable. But off-screen, Tom's treatment was chilling. Demi recalled how he barely made eye contact, avoided any camaraderie, and kept his distance entirely once filming wrapped. Later, in an interview, he remarked that some people try too hard to prove they're strong, a statement Demi knew was aimed at her. When the film earned Oscar recognition, her name was nowhere. Asked about her contribution, Tom smiled and downplayed it. I'm not sure how much of a role she played in the film's success. With him, Demi didn't just lose credit, she lost the chance to stand as an equal among Hollywood's giants. For a woman who had already shattered barriers, the dismissal was crushing. Rob Lowe, the objectification that never ended about Last Night, 1986, helped launch Demi into stardom, pairing her with Rob Lowe in a story of love and intimacy. But Rob treated their work as little more than fuel for his off-screen reputation. When his personal scandal erupted in 1988, he referenced their film's sex scenes as proof of his desirability, dragging Demi's name into the headlines without her consent. On national television, he once joked, "Demi is the ideal co-star. She always puts you in the right mood." To audiences, it sounded charming, but to Demi, it reduced her to an object. She later wrote that she never shot love scenes to arouse anyone, yet that's how the industry framed her. Rob bounced back, reinvented himself, while Demi's career was weighed down by whispers and labels. With him, she didn't just lose credibility, she lost the right to be taken seriously for nearly a decade. Demi Moore's downfall didn't come from a single scandal. It came from whispers, betrayals, and dismissals that chipped away at her piece by piece. 5 men who once praised her helped shape a narrative that cast her as fragile, difficult, or disposable. At 62, Demi isn't asking for revenge. She isn't rewriting history to hurt anyone. She's simply demanding to be heard, because not all wounds make headlines. Some leave no scars, but they strip away a person's sense of self, little by little. And maybe that's the real takeaway. Fame fades, but pain deserves to be remembered. If you've ever admired Demi Moore or been moved by one of her roles, hit that like button. It really helps us reach more people who love these hidden Hollywood stories. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell, because the next expose we have lined up from Hollywood's golden age is even more shocking than this one. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.